These are evil acts, unquestionably, but Shakespeare's characters are rarely pure evil. There are usually mitigating circumstances which partially explain their terrible behaviour, and so is the case here with the death of Alarbus and the subsequent conduct of Demetrius and Chiron. Aaron is another classic case of a man who may have some grounds for his wickedness. He is an outsider in the Roman world, both as a captured Goth, but also as a black man. Although he rarely mentions his colour, it is clear that black men are terribly discriminated against. His passionate defence of his newborn son, which he has been informed he must kill, implies so much about contemporary attitudes towards non-whites. He cries furiously, "Zounds, ye whore! Is black so base a hue? Sweet blouse, you are a beauteous blossom, sure." The word zounds means by Christ's wounds, an incredibly strong swear word during the Elizabethan era, whilst the indignant rhetorical question about whether black should be such a terrible skin colour hints at his own mistreatment within a racist society. This sheds some light on his evil, plotting behaviour. For whilst Titus is reckless in his evil acts, Aaron is more devious, manipulative and plotting. In fact, he is the main planner of the Lavinia rape. He shamelessly joins in Demetrius and Chiron's sexual innuendo before the crime, in lines such as, "Why then, it seems some certain snatch or so would serve your turns." The word snatch refers to both a swift catch of Lavinia, but also rapid sexual intercourse, and is cruel in its macho brutality. He then uses his brains to transform Demetrius and Chiron from boastful, dissolute young men into beasts with a genuine potential to rape. He points out that a solemn hunting is in hand. There will the lovely Roman ladies troop. He goes on to say that the forest walks are wide and spacious, and many unfrequented plots there are, fitted by kind for rape and villainy. Aaron's evil is seen in his ability to appreciate the potential of the forest, not for enjoyment or beauty, communing with nature, or a place to recharge tired batteries, but as a place for rape and villainy. In many ways, he is just as culpable as Demetrius and Chiron, even though he is not the physical perpetrator of the crime. His words act as catalysts and pave the way for the young Goths to satisfy their evil lust. However, this being a Shakespearean tragedy, justice is slow to raise its weary head to condemn and punish. In King Lear, for example, the entirely innocent, devoted Cordelia dies before the messenger can get to her, leaving her father to heartbreakingly cry as he cradles her in his arms, "Howl, howl, howl, oh, you are men of stones," suggesting a world in which human kindness has no value. And in Titus, this callous lack of initial justice is symbolised in the wholly innocent Marcius and Quintus, two of Titus's remaining sons, being erroneously called to account for the murder of Bassianus. Aaron, the devious, evil plotter-in-chief, leads them to the pit in which lies Bassianus' dead body. Marcius falls in. Quintus tries to pull his brother out, but fails and joins him in the pit.
I have no strength to put me to the brink!
Aaron then duly collects Saturnius, who puts 2 and 2 together and makes 5, aided by an incriminating letter which seems to suggest Marcius and Quintus are responsible for Bassianus' death, fueled by the promise of gold. Aaron, the black outsider in more ways than one, has organised everything. Before collecting Saturnius, he has hidden gold near the scene of Bassianus and Lavinia's proposed murder-rape, and also written the aforementioned letter. And so evil planning is shown to have the potential to cloud the truth and to incriminate others. Saturnius is duly taken in, and in Act 2, Scene 3, declares pompously to Titus, "Two of thy whelps, fell curs of bloody kind, have here bereft my brothers of his life." Saturnius' outraged pride is shown in the derogatory terms he uses to refer to Quintus and Marcius. And remember, he is speaking directly to their father Titus, a hugely respected Roman general. They are not honoured Roman soldiers anymore. No, mere aggressive dogs, curs, or unmanned puppies, whelps. And so Titus's tragedy is compounded. His 2 sons are led away, leaving him with just one remaining son, Lucius, and a daughter whom he is soon to find out has been mutilated and raped. Bradley's points about evil in his essay, The Substance of Shakespearean Tragedy, are apt to quote at this point. The main source of the convulsion which produces suffering and death is, in every case, evil. And what is more, it is in almost every case evil in the fullest sense, not mere imperfection, but plain moral evil. Titus suffers terribly from the unjust framing and loss of Quintus and Marcius, and it is not due to human error or an honest mistake, provided we discount Saturnius's, but purely down to the evil plotting of Aaron, a man, remember, who does not have the same cause for revenge as either Tamara, Demetrius or Chiron. He has not seen a family member dragged away humiliatingly to be killed. As Bradley suggests, evil acts result in unspeakable suffering, and we the audience wince as we witness Titus's great fall from all-conquering, all-action hero to suffering, helpless, passive wretch, ensuring he fits the mould of a classic Shakespearean tragic hero whose suffering and calamity, according to Bradley, must be exceptional and befall a conspicuous person. In Act 3, Scene 1, Titus is a fallen shadow of a once proud man as he lies down desperately seeking for the judges to have mercy on Quintus and Marcius. Here's Hopkins's Titus railing and shouting to no avail, accompanied by a furious orchestra, his head to the ground as a carriage goes over his prostrate body.
For these tribunes in the dust I write, my heart's deep languor and my soul's sad tears. Let my tears staunch the earth's dry appetite. My son's sweet blood will make it shame and blush. Ah!
He calls out emotively, "For all my blood in Rome's great quarrel shed, for all the frosty nights that I have watched, and for these bitter tears which now you see filling the aged wrinkles in my cheeks, be pitiful to my condemned sons." His repetition of the words for all, shows Titus's sense of bewildered injustice, that such a loyal servant to Rome as himself should be reduced to this reckless pleading state, whilst the phrase aged wrinkles highlights his own weakness and frailty, something he would never have done at the beginning of the play. For back in Act 1, Scene 1, his language was characterised by the pompous first-person plural, and he referred confidently to himself, using his own surname, "Stand gracious to the rights that we intend, cometh Andronicus." This confidence and pride has vanished to be replaced by the first-person singular of I, and less formal, emotive personal language, although both do attempt dignity in the use of iambic pentameter. A key aspect of tragedy is that the hero falls and falls from a great height. And of course, Titus's suffering increases shortly after this moment when he finds out what has happened to his daughter. Faced with a handless, tongueless and ravished Lavinia, he rails, "My grief was at the height before thou comest, and now like Nilus it disdaineth bounds." Titus's simile illustrates his desperate, uncontrolled outpouring of grief and pain. Just like the river Nile floods annually and spreads dangerously far and wide, so his dreadful emotions can no longer be contained within any socially expected norms of behaviour. The public figure has become a tormented and humiliatingly open beacon of pain and suffering. But Shakespeare shows us that initial acts of evil can provoke a thirst for more wicked, more depraved, more unspeakably cruel acts. Titus believes his grief was at the height with the sentencing of Quintus and Marcius. He then states that it had disdaineth bounds with the appearance of a bleeding Lavinia, yet it increases further when Aaron enters with a made-up message from Saturnius suggesting a chopped-off hand from a member of the Andronicus clan would result in Quintus and Marcius being spared. What is noticeable here is Aaron's enormous pleasure in his devious scheme, which shows clearly that evil delights in evil, that in certain depraved natures a great deal of fun and enjoyment can be obtained by causing deep, deep pain in others. In a revealing aside, Aaron cackles, "Oh, how this villainy doth fat me with the very thought of it." The verb fat conjures up images of Aaron metaphorically feasting on the effect of his evil, growing plumper as he gorges himself on actions that he ensures devastate others. Tamer's production sees Aaron's enjoyment highlighted by a testosterone-fueled walk with Titus's severed hand in a little bag and some jazz-style saxophone drawls.
Their heads, I mean. Oh, how this villainy doth fat me with the very thoughts of it.
Nonetheless, another hint to partially explain such savage cruelty is seen when Aaron says fatalistically, Aaron will have his soul black like his face. This quotation shows Aaron apparently determining that, with society associating the colour black with darkness and evil, he may as well embrace his fate as an evil member of humanity and make his soul like his black face. Evil has the ability to corrupt, demean and debase like no other, and this is exemplified in the closing scenes of the play. It is Act 5, Scene 2, and Titus has the perpetrators of the rape of Lavinia at his mercy. He decides to kill the pair by cutting their throats, whilst Lavinia, between her stumps, doth hold the basin that receives your guilty blood. Titus feels that a kind of poetic justice will be served by Lavinia assisting in the act of revenge. But the reality is that he is debasing a gracious young woman, yet further by insisting she partakes in such a gruesome, bloody scheme. And the final debasement, the final confirmation that evil has invaded and conquered the civilization of humanity, is seen in Titus's decision to use the remains of Demetrius and Chiron as ingredients for a pie. He informs the seconds from death pair, I'll make 2 pasties of your shameful heads, and bid that strumpet, your unhallowed dam, like to the earth swallow her own increase. So this pie will be dished up to their mother, whom Titus scornfully labels a willful prostitute, a strumpet, in an ultimate act of cannibalism. There is unwitting and apt irony here. Demetrius and Chiron had previously used imagery that suggested Lavinia was an agricultural product to be consumed, corn. And so there is some poetic justice that the young men's punishment likewise sees them being transformed into food. But Titus's language reveals just how low he has stooped. He compares his completely deviant gesture of having Tamora munch through the remains of her own children with the entirely natural way the cycle of humanity requires dead humans to be buried within Mother Earth's own bosom. Surely this simile sums up how contagious an atmosphere of evil can become. It can literally reduce honourable humanity to nothing more significant than dust and ashes. The ultimate sufferer caused by evil was, of course, Jesus Christ. But what is Shakespeare suggesting about evil in Titus Andronicus? Well, he shows that planned and impulsive acts of evil can have catastrophic consequences and lead to suffering of unimaginable intensity. He also implies that outsiders may have an entirely natural greater inclination towards evil. Finally, Shakespeare reveals that evil has the unquestionable ability to spread, infect, contaminate, resulting in a complete loss of control and morality. Good evening. Thanks for watching.